Welcome to Red Eye. I'm Greg Gutfeld in for Shanks McCoy, who's on location in my jacuzzi. Be there in an hour, Shanks, and don't take all the pills. Let's go to TV's Andy Levy for our pregame report. So, who are you today? Mr. Phelps? What's on tonight's show?
I don't know. You tell me, Robert Young. Our top story tonight is the guy who killed 2 American servicemen at Frankfurt Airport while yelling Allahu Akbar a terrorist. Some say yes, but the State Department says, who can say, really? Plus, why are Chevy Volt sales less than electric? Our all-star panel will try to figure out why America doesn't want to win the future. Straight ahead. And finally, is a serial abuser of women about to make a lot of money because of his Twitter account? The answer is, ain't that America? Greg?
Thank you, Andy.
Only 2 more shows till our special Pancake Tuesday show next week, Greg.
Don't I know it, Andy? I'm laying out the special Pancake Tuesday show tarp in case we have any accidents.
Sometimes the accidents are the best part of Pancake Tuesday, Greg. Who knows where a spatula might end up?
I wouldn't tell that to the maintenance staff.
No, I apologize for nothing.
Your face is a raft of sorrow.
Go.
All right. Let's welcome our guests. I'm here tonight with Jedediah Bila. That's a lot of E's. Author and political commentator. She's so cute that she makes Care Bears look like mangled, rotting roadkill. Ooh. Yes. And she's sharper than the razor used to cut Charlie Sheen's cocaine. I'd like to welcome a first-time guest. It's Tammy Bruce, Fox News contributor and syndicated radio personality. And celebrating 12 days without solid food, it's my repulsive sidekick, Bill Schultz. Doesn't he look like the professor that gets arrested on Law & Order? Yeah, he does. And he needs a gallon of chapstick just to stay alive. Sitting right next to me, comedian Paul Mercurio. His latest CD is called Image Makeover.
Buy it.
Yeah, yes, if you want to. If comedic genius were a garage sale, he'd probably proudly display his junk across the yard. And he thinks he's Top Gun, but bites the big one. It's our New York Times correspondent. Good to see you again, Pinch.
According to Stephanie Clifford, Apple's Stephen P. Jobs wears Levi's and a black mock turtlenecks, of which everyone in offices the world over are starting to emulate. As for me, I still go to work au natural, naked as a jaybird, Greg.
Yes.
Back to you. My bare bottom is all over your table.
Yeah, so is your boss tired of making fun of Fox News today?
I don't know. I couldn't hear you through the stutter. Hey, there's a cup in front of me.
All right. To the Gregalogue, it's a castle of clarity in a fishbowl of futility. Gregalogue! All right. So when I hear of an act of terror, an internal clock starts ticking. I wonder how long before we find out that the suspect is a radical Islamist. And then how long before that affiliation is rejected as key to the crime. Witness the murderous acts against our military in Frankfurt. It was only a matter of time before the killer's links to radical Islam were exposed. And it was only a few hours later that an administration official dismissed that notion. Here we have P.J. Crowley bringing back memories not only of Tucson, but of Fort Hood in a way.
So even if it's somebody acting alone, that's not a terrorist attack? I'm just trying to understand why you can't make that clear.
Well, for example, was the shooting of Congresswoman Gabby Giffords a terrorist attack? I mean, you have to look at the evidence and look at the motivation, and then you make a judgment, and that is a process, as far as I know, that is ongoing.
I didn't know Woody Allen was our spokesman.
That is really bad.
Excitement.
Yeah. Anyway, PJ, which must stand for poor judgment, actually compared a horrible crime linked to radical Islam to whatever was bubbling in Jared Loughner's damaged head. So does PJ actually believe these crimes are alike? Is he that dim? I mean, with that hypothetical yammer, Crowley not only minimized the nature of the terrorist threat, but also implied he still may believe the attack on Giffords was part of a greater movement. And so a killer can shout Allah Akbar, just like at Fort Hood, and the administration still won't commit. They only see a man with no affiliation because decades of ingrained political correctness have taught them to be fearful of pointing out that affiliation, because it's bigotry, after all. Look, making no mention of terror won't make terror go away. All it does is expose the biggest weakness our country has, leaders with spines like spaghetti. And if you disagree with me, then you, sir, are a racist homophobe. Yeah. So, Paul, first off, I want to apologize. It seems the bullies have taken your black Schwinn, and we're going to try and get it replaced.
This is a very expensive jacket, I'll have you know.
Sure it does.
And Oshkosh B'gosh.
Where do you leave your bags of the newspapers when you're doing the show? Do you leave them out in the green room? I'm sorry. Paul, back to a serious topic.
Yes,
do you need a plot, like a terror plot, to be a terrorist? Why do we, just because
I don't get all this. This is absurd. Like, what does the guy have to do to prove he's a terrorist? Like, if you act alone, you're not a terrorist?
Yeah.
Is this like the carpool lane now?
Yeah.
Like, to be a terrorist, do I have to have a mannequin with me? And how badly do I feel badly for the terrorist guy. He's sitting in jail going, what do I have to do to prove that I'm a terrorist? I yelled, Allah is great. Should I have worn I'm a terrorist t-shirt? What?
It's true. The fact is, they are being really honest.
Yeah.
Now that they're actually telling you ahead of time, accept it.
Yeah.
Tammy, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. Was that possibly the worst hypothetical question ever that PJ did? I mean, that was not. He answered a question with a question. Not a good move.
Yeah, and it sounded like he still was confused about Tucson and who Loeffner was associated with. Bottom line is, you remember it took them 1 hour to decide that it was Sarah Palin who was responsible for Tucson. 1 hour, and now we have days now have gone by, and they're still really flummoxed about what happened in Frankfurt.
I don't know. Jedediah, why are they so scared to call a jihadist a jihadist?
They're terrified of that word. These are isolated extremists. These are not terrorists. These are man-caused disasters. And this is why we have an enormous national security problem right now. What kind of message does this send to terrorists, to rogue dictators? What about the message it sends to Americans who are concerned about our national security, or to Muslims, moderate Muslims, who oppose this kind of extremism and who really want a strong American leader in there saying, I'm not going to take this, I'm not going to say okay to this, I'm going to stand up to this kind of nonsense?
Bill, you are, in some places, referred to as a man-caused disaster. Can you take a guy seriously whose name is PJ? That stands for pajamas.
Well, that's his Twitter name, Pajamas Crowley.
Really?
Yes, I found that out because I looked on his Twitter account to see if he ever uses the word terrorist, and indeed he doesn't. I also found out that he has 22,000 followers to Charlie Sheen's 1,300,000.
Do some blow and then call me.
Yeah.
That's painful.
That's hitting him below
First
the
of all,
belt.
change the nickname because it's boring. Pajamas does not inspire.
Yes.
And second of all, start using proactive words like terrorist, and your followers will go up through the roof.
There you
And
go.
just let me say, this is the lesson for the would-be terrorists out there. There are rules to being a terrorist. You know, show your passport with the terrorist stamp.
Exactly.
And then place your burning American flag in the compartment above you.
Yeah.
And then people know. Because if not, there's going to be chaos.
Yeah.
And that leads to terrorism.
Yeah.
Couple of rules he didn't follow. No beard. He actually looked a little Euro trashy.
Right,
Did you see
exactly.
that one photo of him with
That's
the
a good
headphones
point.
around him?
Right.
That's a good
Right.
point. He didn't have a beard. Maybe that's what threw PJ off.
Right.
Yes.
Looking for the beard, aren't we all? All right. From terrified of terror to government error. Is the Volt starting to molt? God, I love these rhymes. I speak, of course, of the Chevy Volt, the much-hyped electric car that everyone from President Obama to my transgender neighbor Seth said would save the planet. Never trusted Seth. Well, the February sales numbers are in, and they are amazing. Yep, Chevy sold a massive 281 Volts in the entire month. That's like 3 a day. That's one for every person who watched Parker Spitzer.
Yeah.
The good news for Chevy is that only 67 people bought
Top speed.
Yeah, there you go. Only 67 people bought Nissan's electric car, the Leaf, in the same month, so that's a bright spot. But the worst news for Chevy is that Volt sales are down 12% from January when they sold a whopping 321 of them. Chevy had originally scheduled a production run of 60,000 Volts, which they've now cut to 10,000. But as Jonathan Last points out at the Weekly Standard, since the government gives a $7,500 credit to the freaks that buy these cars, the fact that sales are sucky means less of your money is going to the freaks that buy these cars. I'm now told we have tape of a satisfied Volt owner.
Boy,
There you go.
No, that was actually a child in a dog costume.
It looked like a real dog. Well done, child in dog costume.
Without YouTube, people
That's
wouldn't be
hot.
training their animals to do such
That was
amazing
kind of the best video we've ever had.
we
I'm
might-
blown away by that.
We might actually end up having an entire race of dogs who can drive us places because of YouTube.
That thing was going faster than the Volt.
Yeah, it's true. Tammy, does this prove that government should stay out of the car business, or is it really the government's fault? The car was already made.
No, it's everything's government's fault.
Okay.
I mean, it's the fact that it exists.
You know
is a
where
problem.
your bread is buttered.
Look,
Keep
this
talking,
is
lady.
I
the
was
Volt.
made by the government.
Look, it's too expensive. It doesn't work, and nobody wants it. It's kind of like Dan Rather.
Yeah.
So that's helpful there. But really, you don't need regulation. When the automobile was invented, we didn't need to ban the horse and buggy.
Yeah.
The automobile was just better. People wanted it, and so it's more successful. Kind of like the difference between Fox and MSNBC. So you don't need to ban something in order to have people make a correct decision.
There you go.
But, you know, this is the problem is, of course, is the money we've poured into it, but the Volt's perfect as a symbol of what the government can do, which is slow and not useful and irrelevant, ultimately, in the long run.
Poor CNN.
I
We never
don't
devote
blame-
enough time to slamming that. It's always just MSNBC. Equal time.
All right, what do you want to say about CNN?
CNN, more like BMM.
Nicely
That's a
done.
bad thing.
That is
Nice.
I'm sorry, America and
is
CNN
smooth.
executives.
You
That
can
was
see that in
terrible.
his college course.
Paul, I got to ask you,
Put your
even
hand out like you're doing a show tune.
all right, even after the rebate, the car is very expensive. Who's going to buy this?
I blame Americans because we're full of it. We say we want to take care of the economy, we want to do the right thing, and then you put a dorky car out and no one's going to buy it. Nobody puts their money where their mouth is. The problem is that the fact is that I blame women for this. If you dated guys
He's
who
pointing at
drove dorky
Jedediah.
cars, Jedediah, who were hooking up later, then we would, every man would have a Volt in his driveway, okay? And I'm not driving a Volt. I'm not driving a car that makes less noise than the vibrator I keep in the glove compartment.
Jedediah?
Let's see that one coming.
Yeah. Have you ever driven with him?
It on you the other night.
No, it's weird. Whenever you're driving with him, it accidentally falls into your lap.
Oh, how did I get there?
Jedediah, he kind of has a point there. If women liked men who drove dorky cars,
I
there'd
like,
be more.
men who drive dorky cars. I like dorky men.
Oh, really?
So let me just put that on record
Okay.
now.
Well, what do you mean?
doing after the show?
Why aren't people listening to Obama and buying this car? He wants the best
The
interests.
marketplace. The marketplace is going to determine the best product. The best product is going to rise to the top. These products are not ready yet.
Yeah.
The charging is a problem. They have numerous issues.
Exactly.
Maybe they'll be the car of the future one day.
Yeah.
Right now, they're not ready. And can I just make a recommendation, whoever's creating these names? Leaf.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
who's buying a car with
Right.
that name?
Yeah.
Leaf versus Jaguar.
Right.
You decide.
What are you going, to Fern Gully? What is this? Am I an American or an elf? Come on.
Should be like the Nissan Awesome.
Yes.
Well,
I think my jacket looks pretty good. You're crazy.
Wait, I want to bring Bill into this. Bill, did you test sleep the Volt before?
I'm proud to say I've never owned a car in my life. I did borrow my mom's minivan back in high school, or the shag and wag as I like to call it, although it was by myself. I would say that you're right, the technology's not there, but oil's $116 a barrel right now.
Yeah.
That's going to get people to
Drill,
these things.
baby, drill.
You
That's
don't
the
have
answer
to.
to that.
Drill's
Drill,
drilling is not
baby,
the answer.
drill.
Not using oil.
You
and not
want,
going to
yes, you want cars that work, cars that run on hate.
Yes.
Change the name to Gonzalez, you'll be able to drive right through Arizona.
Electricity. We need at least coal for electricity.
What?
I mean, you're going to drill or we're going to have to dig.
Yeah.
Because if the Volt's not just going to be, plugged into the wall and it comes from the magic electricity tree. It comes from the
It's
freaking
gonna
coal.
I look at it this way. The VCR was invented in 1975. I didn't know anyone that owned one until like the mid 80s. This thing's gonna get better, and the more it gets better, the less oil we'll use, the more fuel efficient it'll be.
You
It's
new
all a
people.
good thing. We just
Wait a
gotta
minute. The
have
Volt
patience.
is basically like driving a VCR, isn't it?
That's why I have a hard time
it
fitting
is
in
the
it.
Betamax
Yes.
of the VCRs. Everyone you knew had the Betamax, and
Yeah.
those went away.
Well,
Everyone
that's 'cause
else
Bill
had
is a
the
beta
VCR.
male.
You see, there you go.
All right, you know what? I want to move on, even though this is a really interesting topic, but frankly, I'm bored.